They make up a story. They know it's made up. It's gone on for a year and a half, 2 years. Russia, Russia, Russia. I knew nothing about.
Yep, that's a Trump speech. What's happening? Why is he in a tuxedo? NRCC President's Dinner. Okay, President's Dinner. Gotcha. He looks not great.
I intend to personally campaign for candidates all across the country, and we just won't. You're right about that. We won't just keep our majorities. We want to expand our majorities by a lot. You know, there's this thing about midterm elections that you have a president and they never seem to win. I don't understand. They never seem to win the midterm elections, and I have no idea why. You know, we're not going to let that be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I have no idea why. But the party is doing well, and there's no reason we shouldn't just get together and win these midterms and win them by a lot. Because
it is very interesting that he's talking about the midterms when he's less than 3 months into the administration. Like, the midterm, we're so not even there yet. You know? We're so far from there. He does operate best in a permanent state of campaigning, so I guess it makes sense that he would be kind of on that, you know? Early signs are not looking good for him and for the Republicans with regard to their performance in the midterms. But, you know, again, we've got a lot of time to go, and Americans are very stupid. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, I don't know if we're even going to, like, really get midterms, but...
But the same people now telling me about how to deal with China are the ones who sold out America for decades to China. For decades, they gave up to China. I'm the only one that China... You know how much? China's paid almost $700 billion in tariffs under me. And then they say, Donald Trump hasn't been tough on China.
You know what I realize? Donald Trump is actually like the guy in your friend group who exclusively talks in memes. It's just he's created all the memes. Like the way he says China or Russia, 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 any of the million things that he does and says, it's like he leans into it deliberately because he knows it's a lay epic meme. It's just he made the memes. So it doesn't seem to say, it's not referential. He's just doing it.
They say, we think we're going to have the final vote tally in 2.5 weeks. And wait a minute, this is election day. You ever see where in California they were counting votes 4 weeks later? And then they say, and by the way, all paper costs 8% of the machines. Why is it that Republican governors aren't going to it, okay? What's going on with our Republican governors? If nothing else, you say, even if it was just the same, and it's not.
I talk an awful lot about, like, trying to understand why the opposition is the way they are, but I genuinely can't sympathize with people who listen to this and go along with it. Like, anyone who, like, for nonstop for 4 years whining about the results of the election, like leaving aside the fact that he's lying, just the fact that he's whining, always whining. I don't know what kind of person you'd have to be energized by this, you know?
No, we need people that are going to love our country. I'm proud to be the president for the workers, not the outsourcers. The president who stands up for Main Street, not Wall Street, who protects the middle class, not the political class, and who defends America, not trade cheaters all over the globe. They're trade cheaters. They cheated on us. They cheated with tariffs on us. They stole our...
What I mean about the whining, like, I guess just like I would feel personally very pathetic. You know what? I feel like I'm repeating myself, so I'm gonna open it up to the clip farms and be edgy. I've known black people who race bait. There are black people who fuck up their own lives and then blame systemic racism for things that are not necessarily the fault of systemic racism. Admittedly, I have met far less of those people than I have white people who blame anti-white racism for everything that happens in their life that goes wrong. But, you know, regardless, I have known people like that. Not many, but some. None of them have complained, day to day, even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction as much as Trump and his acolytes do. Not even close. Not even remotely. I cannot imagine what kind of... Because when I've listened to people who do that kind of grievance politics before, any side of the political aisle, mostly my thought is just like, don't you feel pathetic? Like, every single talking point of yours is about how you're a bitch, basically. Always a crybaby. And they do it more than anyone. Genuinely. I don't know. I know Hitler did it too. Every Hitler speech was like, Germany's been fucked over a million times. Every speech of it was like that. Did he do it this much? I don't know. I don't know. We're reaching like real levels here. It's just remarkable how much you have to be bought in on your own weakness to follow this stuff. Like how much you have to be tolerant of or like emotionally capable of constant self-pity in order to buy into this, you know? Republicans control the entire federal government, and if you went online and took a look at their memes and how they like communicate their intentions, you would think they were in the minority. They still act like they're on the back foot. They always act like they're on the back foot. Always.
I used to have the hardest thing I had to do with Joe Biden is the nickname. Do I call him Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? Could we take a vote, please? Who wants to call him Crooked Joe? Who wants to call him Sleepy Joe? That's my problem. It's like the same. They both work. They both.
That wasn't the same at all. Also, he's been doing this bit.
I've been talking about no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. And I haven't really been...
Remarkably, these proposals are not included in the one big, beautiful bill that would be the biggest deficit hike in American history, if you can believe that.
I say, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a new policy all over the country, but specifically in Nevada. There will be no tax on tips, right? And the cameras went wild. Click, 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 click. And we won the state by a lot, so I don't know. So
even when he's not campaigning, all he talks about is when he was campaigning. Oh, man. I really, 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 really hope that when this is all over, people don't blame what happened on his obvious egomania. Sorry, I was mixed up between egomania and megalomania, though I think you could probably slap them both on there if you wanted to. Because the entire Republican Party followed him along with this. Like, maybe Trump is authentically like a psychopath with an enormous ego, and there's legitimately like a unique case to be made for his brain and how it works. Sure, fine, I believe that. But the entire party fell in line to it. And a lot of the people who fell in line with it, right, these are like, they used to be like neocons. They're not all like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're not all like the same guy. A lot of these people were deliberately self-serious, fiscal conservative types who initially got elected during the Bush days or before, you know? Like, all of them fell in line. So you can't, like, this cannot be explained by Trump. He's just an inciting incident. That's all you can say.
Something that sells for $88 in London sells for $1,300 here, made in the same factory by the same company.
I think this is just the opposite of true. Americans are really reliable and wealthy consumers, so generally we get the low end of prices for basically everything. Like, have you ever talked to an Australian or a Canadian or a British person about what they have to pay for commodities that we pay for? Because for the most part, like, we get it cheap. Why would I ever do that? That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Their drugs are way cheaper. Yeah, but that's not because of the other country, the exporter, is being extortionist. That's because people like Trump control our healthcare system. That has nothing to do with what he's talking about. The reason drugs are expensive in our country, he literally struck down Biden executive orders allowing Medicare to negotiate the price of some drugs for seniors. Like, the reason drugs are expensive here is because he wants them expensive.
You know, in the first 4 years, we had the most successful country in history in terms of economics. We had an 88% increase in the stock markets. We had an 88% increase.
What am I
There's never
supposed
been
to say to this shit?
President that had an 88% increase. We had 88%.
He really likes that number.
Because we had a great first term and amazing first term. But I saw that the other day, that we had the most successful, I mean, I knew it anyway, but I saw that we had 88% increase. That's a tremendous increase.
Man.
Think of that. And that's what
Okay, I don't think that Trump is dog whistling because I don't really think he's capable of it. Also, he doesn't give a shit about Nazi dog whistles. He's him. He's not like ideologically a Nazi or whatever. That being said, what the fuck? My thinking on this is probably he's surrounded by Nazis and they keep 88 posting. Like, Trump will be like, how big did the economy get today? And one of them will be like, it went up 88%. and he'll hear that and you go, oh, okay. And then he'll go back to playing like Candy Crush on his phone or something. They've probably done that to him like over and over and over again. Yeah, Stephen Miller whispering in his ear like worm tongue, you know? I think I've convinced myself of this. I now unironically think that's why he keeps saying 88 over and over. He's pretty easy to manipulate, right? Like, he's very, plastic.
if you really look, the European Union, why was that set up? It was set up to screw the United States of America. They formed a group of countries, got together, and let's make life miserable for the United States of America on trade and other things. And they have done that.
All the time.
They've treated us very badly. We don't sell cars into the European Union. We've also begun the largest deregulation campaign in history. For every one new regulation, I have directed that 10 old regulations must be eliminated before the first one can go into effect. And we're working tirelessly to restore peace through strength.
This shit must go so crazy if you're actually retarded, man. Vaush just sounds genuinely defeated, makes me feel worse. I don't have to hear that, man. I'm not a fucking loci for your mental well-being. I'm a guy with a headache. You go, the transmitter of my political opinions is exhausted from the objectively exhausting shit that's happening. Now I feel worse. Well, now you're gonna make me feel worse, because now I think you, with your fragile psyche, you're gonna like fucking punch your own ticket, okay? What if my mental is compromised right now from something entirely unrelated to this? What if I sound defeated because I tried to open up like a Chaos Dwarfs campaign late last night and I didn't understand the slavery to raw material to warforged equipment ratios, and it fell apart 2 provinces in? You don't know. You don't know me. You don't understand my life. Okay?